Thousands of years ago, a civilization basically blossomed out of the desert sands and built these monuments that just seemed to defy gravity itself. We're talking about ancient Egypt, of course, and their greatest creations, the pyramids. They remain one of humanity's most profound mysteries. So really, how did they do it?
Look at this, the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's a man-made mountain of stone, built with a precision that seems, well, impossible. So how? How did a society without any iron tools, without even the wheel, pull off something that would be a challenge for our modern technology? That is the puzzle we are going to piece together today. Now, to find the answer, we can't actually start with the pyramids themselves. Nope, we have to go back thousands of years before they were even a thought to a place you would never, ever expect. A vast green Sahara.
Yeah, you heard that right. For about 6,000 years, the Sahara was a paradise. We're talking grasslands, lakes. It was home to hunter-gatherers who were so advanced, they built stone calendars to track the sun. But then around 5,500 BCE, a tiny little wobble in the Earth's axis changed everything. It shifted the African monsoon, and slowly but surely, their green world began to die.
Imagine watching lakes turn to dust, grasslands to sand. A desperate migration began. From every direction, countless tribes were driven by thirst and fear towards the one single beacon of survival they could see, a shimmering blue ribbon of water cutting right through the golden wasteland, the Nile. Now, the Nile was a paradox. Every single year, it unleashed this terrifying flood. But when the water finally receded, it left behind a miracle, a layer of incredibly fertile black silt. These former nomads noticed that wild grains grew like magic in this new soil. But there was a catch. It dried out way too fast. So, in a total stroke of genius, they dug canals and built walls to trap the floodwater. They invented irrigation. And in that moment, the hunter became a farmer, and humanity's first great engineers were born. This new ability to create huge food surpluses, it changed everything. It gave rise to wealth, villages, and cities. But, wherever you find wealth, you're going to find conflict. Society needed a whole new kind of order just to survive. For centuries, the Nile Valley was split into two separate kingdoms, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. But then, around 3000 BCE, a really powerful ruler named Narmer came along and conquered them both. He forged the world's first unified empire and became the first person to ever hold the title of pharaoh.
So how do you control a population that vast? Well, Narmer and the pharaohs after him came up with one of the most brilliant and long-lasting political tools in all of history: religion. They didn't just rule by force, they established themselves as living gods on earth.
The psychology behind this is just genius. The pharaohs taught that if their physical body was preserved perfectly after death, their spirit would join the gods, and that would guarantee the sun would rise and the Nile would flood. But if the body decayed, cosmic order would collapse. The world would end. This single idea transformed the monumental task of building a tomb from forced labor into a sacred duty. You weren't just serving a king, you were literally saving the world. And to make sure the body didn't decay, they perfected the science of mummification. It was this incredibly meticulous 40-day procedure. They used a special salt called natron to basically remove all the moisture and stop decomposition in its tracks. And crucially, the heart was left inside. They believed it was the seat of intelligence and the key to getting into the afterlife. Okay, so with the why completely locked down, the next huge challenge was the how. How do you build a tomb that's worthy of a god? A structure that could actually last for eternity? Well, it was a long process of trial and error, a truly remarkable story of innovation.
So their first tombs were these simple mud brick benches called mastabas, but they were weak, they eroded, and they were super easy to rob. Then, an architect of pure genius named Imhotep had an idea. What if we stack stone mastabas on top of each other? The result was the Step Pyramid, the world's first massive stone building. Later, a pharaoh tried to build a true smooth-sided pyramid, but the angle was just too steep, and it literally started to crack halfway up. They had to change the angle, and it became known as the Bend Pyramid, a massive public failure. But you know what? They learned. Their very next attempt, the Red Pyramid, was a perfect success.
All of this experimentation, all these failures, and all these successes, they all led to one final, ultimate expression of their power and their knowledge: the Great Pyramid, built for the pharaoh Khufu on the Giza Plateau. The scale of this is it's mind-boggling. The pyramid is made of an estimated 2.3 million blocks of stone. Let's put that in perspective.
If they placed one block every 2 minutes, working 10 hours a day, 365 days a year, it would still take them over 20 years to finish.
And we're not talking about little pebbles here. The granite beams they used to build the king's chamber weighed up to 50 tons each. That's about the weight of a modern battle tank. And they had to move them 800 kilometers up the Nile from a quarry in the south. When it was finally finished, the Great Pyramid soared to 481 feet. That's like a 50-story skyscraper. And it would stay the tallest man-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. It's a testament to an ambition that literally reached for the heavens.
So how on earth did they pull this off? First, let's just forget the myth about slaves. The builders were skilled, they were paid laborers, and they lived in a purpose-built city right next to the construction site. They moved these giant blocks on sledges over sand, and they brilliantly discovered that if you wet the sand in front of the sledge, it reduces friction by half. They built enormous earthen ramps to haul the stones up. But the most incredible part? It's the precision. Without a compass, they aligned the structure to true north with an accuracy of just 3/60ths of a degree, probably by watching the stars. And the joints between these multi-ton blocks are so tight, you still can't fit a modern razor blade between them. It's just incredible.
So they had built an eternal mountain to protect their god king for all time. But there was one fatal flaw in their master plan. See, by building such a massive monument, they had basically created the world's largest signpost pointing directly to the greatest treasure in the entire land. And despite all their secret passages and their booby traps, nearly every single pyramid was broken into and robbed by ancient tomb raiders.
Which of course leads us to the ultimate question. The Great Pyramid of Khufu is the biggest, it's the most famous of them all. Surely some of its treasure had to have survived. So when archaeologists finally breached the king's chamber, what did they see? Absolutely nothing. The granite sarcophagus was there, yeah, but it was empty and open. No mummy, no gold, no artifacts. And what's really strange is that, unlike other tombs, the walls were completely bare. No hieroglyphs, no paintings, just emptiness. This baffling emptiness has fueled so many theories. One of the most intriguing is called the Orion correlation theory. It suggests that the layout of the 3 Giza pyramids on the ground perfectly mirrors the 3 stars in Orion's belt in the sky. And get this, even their relative sizes seem to match the brightness of the stars. Could the Giza Plateau be more than just a cemetery? Could it be a map of the heavens, built on Earth, designed to launch the pharaoh's soul straight to its celestial home?
And the mystery just keeps getting deeper. In recent years, scientists have sent these little robotic probes up tiny, unexplored shafts deep inside the pyramid, only to be stopped by mysterious stone doors. And even more astonishing, modern cosmic ray scans have revealed a massive, hidden void, a chamber the size of a passenger jet, sealed within the pyramid's heart, completely inaccessible for 4,500 years. From a dying savanna to a river of life, from simple farmers to engineers of the impossible, the story of the pyramids is really the story of human ingenuity. But it's a story that isn't finished yet. It leaves us to wonder, what really lies behind those unexplored doors? And what final secrets does this ancient wonder still hold for us?